"Sir, are you all right?" One of the employees ran up to us, concern etched on his face. "Yes, we're fine." Dad placed a hand on my shoulder. "I guess we should have put a sign up. That horse is dangerous." The worker sighed in relief. "So I gathered. Why isn't she in with the other horses?" "We tried to put her in with them, but all she did was fight. Some of them are quite beat up." The worker shook his head. "You should have seen her when they brought her in. Had to whip her to get her into the pens." Anger rose in my chest. How could anyone treat a beautiful horse so badly? "Well, I need to move on. The auction's about to start." The worker moved away, and Dad and I were left alone. "Dad," I drew a shaky breath, "I want that horse." Dad shook his head. "Sorry, honey. She's too much horse for you." Tears filled my eyes. "Now, don't start that." Dad knelt in front of me. "You saw what she tried to do to me. How do you think you'll be able to handle her?" I didn't think there was any way to convince Dad, but I had to try. "Dad," I said earnestly, "she's not really a bad horse. You heard what that man said. They were whipping her. If they did that in public... But what do you think they did to her back at their home? I saw the look in her eyes when she charged you. She was scared. Dad, please, just give me a chance. I think I could help her. I have to try. This isn't her fault. She deserves a second chance." Dad sighed and, standing up, stared through the boards at the mare, who was still pawing the ground nervously. He was silent for a long time, and I was beginning to think he wasn't going to answer me, but finally he turned around and took my hand. "Let's go watch the auctions," he said. "Maybe you'll notice a horse you didn't see before." My heart sank. He was still determined to get me one of those old, calm horses. I followed along behind him as we made our way to the auction ring, picturing the frightened eyes of the silver mare and wishing I could help her. Horse after horse passed through the ring, and whenever a calm one was being auctioned off, Dad turned hopeful eyes on me, but each time I shook my head. I couldn't get the silver mare out of my mind. Leaving Dad standing by the ring, I walked out onto the platform that overlooked the pens and saw that most of the horses were gone. They would be getting to the silver mare soon. 45 minutes later, she entered the ring. I held my breath as she came charging in, head high, eyes wide and fearful. She circled the ring twice, her coat flashing in the bright lights. The auctioneer began his monotonous chant, and I watched as the mare charged the fence over and over again, her frantic calls drowning out the auctioneer's voice. Time seemed to stand still as the auctioneer droned on, asking for bids. I waited, sure that someone would bid on such a beautiful horse, but no one did. Several minutes passed. Dad glanced down at me, and I gave him a pleading look. His lips moved, and while I couldn't hear the words, I knew what he was asking. "Are you sure?" I nodded. "Yes, I'm sure." Hesitantly, slowly, he raised his hand. "Sold for $50!" the auctioneer called out. I felt a strange tightness in my chest as tears blurred my vision. "You're mine," I whispered, as they ran the mare out of the ring. "No one will ever hurt you again."